Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel SQL Edge. In today's video, we are going to learn about two very important types of SQL commands, DCL and TCL commands. We have already seen DDL, DML and DQL commands in the previous video sessions of this series SQL Server Foundation course. Now let's understand how DCL and TCL help us to manage the database security and transactions effectively. So let's move to the first part 1 of this video session, the DCL commands, which stands for data control language. So DCL stands for data control language. These DCL commands are used to control access to the data in the database, right? So we can specifically mention who can access our data saved in our database, right? So these DCL commands are very useful to grant or control the access management of on a particular database, right? So there are two main types of the DCL commands we are having, the grant and revoke, right? So apart from that, there is one more command we are having called deny as well, right? So let's see with a practical demo how we can use that. So these are the common two commands we are having into the DCL grant. It is used to give a user access privilege to the database objects, right? So using the grant command, we can provide access to a particular database or any database objects. What are the different database objects we are having? It might be table, procedure, function, view, or any other database objects like clear, right? So grant is used to give a user access privileges to the database objects. And another command we are having is a revoke. So revoke is used to remove the previously granted access to the database objects. So these are the two commands we are having under DCL. Right here, I already have some demo commands written over here to give the access and to revoke the accesses. To give any access to a particular object, we need to have first a user created. So to create a user, we need to create a login as well. So using the DDL command, right? We create is a DDL command, right? So we are going to create a login first, and we are going to create a user as well, right? So this is the command to create a particular login. So I have created this login called test user, and this login ID can be accessed with this password. And then another create command I have used to create the user, right? So we can create a user as well for the particular login. So on this login, we can create a user as well. Okay, so these DCL commands basically called or basically executed by the database administrator. These are not made for developers. Okay, in real time, those will be handled by the DBAs only, right? So if you have to see the users and login, you can go to the Object Explorer, and under the security tabs, you will see the logins. So currently on my machine, these many logins are already created. These are the system login, and currently I'm logging in using this desktop user, right? So where you can see this login ID, whenever you are connecting to the database, you will see there is a username. Okay, currently it is hidden here, you can see, and the same username is here. So this is the login ID we are having. In this login, what are the users we are having, that we can see under server role. So if you expand the server role, these are the different users we are having, right? So this is the real time, and I have given a sample demo here to create a login and create a user. Right now, let's create a employee table under the student DB. Now let's see this table I'm going to create under the student DB, because we should know like whatever the object we are creating, that belongs to which database. So here we can change the database, right? Currently we are having student DB, so this employees table will be created under the student database. And now we can insert one row here. Okay, let me just create a user first. Login I'm not going to create, login is there already. So I'm creating a test user. See here, it is not having a valid login, right? So login is not valid. So let's give the login ID correct. So this is the login we are going to create a user under, right? So under this login, I'm going to create a user. So it is not allowing me to do that because we are not having a privileges, right? We are not an administrator, so it will not allow you to create any user. It will say incorrect syntax. So this is just, that is the reason I have just given the demo queries here to create a login and create a user, right? So when we insert the data and we can see the data on the table. Currently there are two records we are having, Jean and Maria, right? And we can see the data inside a table. Now let's say whatever the user we have created, we want to grant the access to this user to see the data from this table, right? So how we can write the query for granting the permission to the user? Using the grant command, grant, and then I'm just giving the select access on the object to the user, right? So this is what the general query will be having. I'll just write the generalized query here. To grant any access, grant. Here we will be having the privileges, right? Privilege. Okay, what we can have here? We can have here select access, insert, update, okay, or drop. Any access we can give here. Then on object name, on which object you want to give the access, and then to, here you will be having the username, right? So this is the generalized syntax we are having for the grant command, right? So in this way we can give the permission to a particular user on a particular object and for a particular action like select, insert, update, or delete, right? So user can have access for different actions on this table, right? So how we can give the access? Using grant command. Same way, using the revoke command we can remove the access as well, right? So I'm writing the generalized formula here. Instead of grant you have to write revoke, right? So revoke in the sense take back the authorities, right? We can take the insert, update, drop actions back from on the object from the user, right? So instead of to, here you will be having the from username. So these are the two DCL commands we are having: data control language, the grant and revoke. These commands are typically executed by the DBAs, database administrator, and permissions can be given on objects like tables, views, procedures, etc. There are many more objects we'll be having. We can give the permission on any of the database object using this DCL command, right? So that's all about this DCL commands. Here we first created a login and user called test user. Then using grant, we are allowing this user to read the data from the employee table, right? And later with the revoke command, what we are doing is we are removing the permission from that user to access the employee table, right? So the DCL commands help us to control who can access which database object, right? That's all for this DCL. Next, let's move to the TCL command, transaction control language. So TCL, which stands for transaction control language, TCL commands are used to manage the transaction, or we can say TCL commands are manage the changes made by the DML statements like insert, update, delete. This is what we call as a transaction. Transaction is nothing but a group of SQL statements that executes together as a logical unit, right? So if we have multiple SQL commands and we are calling those SQL commands as a group of logical unit, we call that as a transaction. There are three main types of commands we are having: commit, rollback, and SAVEPOINT. So these are the three commands we are having: commit, rollback, and SAVEPOINT. Let's say here we are having one table. Before that, just understand commit. Commit is used to save all the changes made by the transaction. Rollback is used to undo the transaction made by the changes made by the transaction. And SAVEPOINT, it saves a save point within the transaction to partially roll back, right? So all these transactions should be started with begin transaction command, which is used to start a particular transaction, right? So let's see. Here we are creating a sample table called bank account. Create a table for transaction demo. So I'm going to create this table under this student DB database. Let's create this table. And we could see today we have created two tables. So we should see both of those tables under the student database. And if you are not able to see, let's refresh those. But yeah, we are already able to see these two tables. One we have created for the DCL commands, another bank account table we have just created for learning or taking the demo of the TCL command, transaction control language. Now I'm inserting some sample data into this table. I'm inserting two records and we could see the data from the bank account table. There are two records we are having under this bank account table, right? Account number 1, account number 2, and these are related to Amit and Ria, and they are having some bank balance under their account, right? So let's say I want to deduct the 2000 amount from Ria's account, right? So what I want to do is I want to transfer the 2000 rupees from Amit to Ria. So what I will do, I will deduct the 2000 from this 10,000, right? And I will add the 2000 to this 12,000. So in this way, I can say like the transaction is successfully completed, right? So update bank account, set balance, right? I'm setting the balance value is equal to balance minus 2000. So whatever the available balance 10,000 we are having, I'm reducing 2000 from that. So it will set the balance 10,000 minus 2000, but for whom? For account number 101, that is for Amit, right? I don't want to do this for both of the records. I want to use the where clause to apply the changes on a particular row only, right? So in this way, I'm going to update the balance to deduct the 2000, and the second row, like account number 102, I'm going to add the 2000 because this 2000 deducted from Amit will be added to the Ria's account, right? So in this way we can update the data. And now let's see the data, and then I'm saying the commit transaction. So in this way, what will happen? Whatever the updates was happened, that will be saved permanently, right? So if everything is fine, commit the changes. So whatever the changes we are having, that we are going to commit. So commit is used to save the changes. So let's see, run the entire transaction together, right? So start the transaction, update the data, see the data, and commit the transaction. So let's execute this. You will see the 10,000 is now updated to 8,000 and 12,000 is updated to 14,000, right? So this is how we can permanently make the updates to the data. Now we cannot undo the changes until and unless we write the another update command, right? But let's see one example with rollback as well, right? So what I'm going to do here, same, I'm starting the transaction, I'm updating the data. Now for in this example, what I'm doing, I'm from account number 101, I'm going to deduct 3000 again and adding that 3000 to the account number 102. So in this way, I'm trying to transfer 3000 rupees from Amit's account to Ria's account. So this should become 5,000 and this should become 17,000. Okay, so I'm going to update this. Then I'm running the select query, which is after update. So this select query will show you the updated data. And instead of commit here, I'm going to roll back the transaction. So what rollback will do? Rollback will undo the changes. So once it is updated to 5,000 and it is updated to 17,000, this rollback will be updating the data back to its original position. That means 101's account balance will be 8,000 and 102's account balance will be 14,000 only. Okay, let's run this together. Sorry, it should be starting from begin transaction. Now you could see, okay, it is updated to 5,000 and it is updated to 7,000. But as we did the rollback, on final result, we can see for verification of the rollback, we can see the data is having its original position 8,000 and 14,000, right? So in this example, what we did, we are transferring money between two accounts. We use begin transaction to start the transaction, right? If all the updates are successful, we use the commit to save the changes permanently, right? So commit is used to save the changes permanently. But if something goes wrong, rollback will undo the transaction, right? So this is how we can have the control on the transaction. This is we can relate with a real-time example. Whenever you are transferring money from your account to your friend's account, okay, if there is a technical issue, whatever the money debited from your account will be credited back by the bank after some time, right? So this is a best example of the transaction that we have. Everyone has been seen in their real life, right? So transaction should be either successfully completed or it should be successfully rolled back, right? So let's summarize this. DCL, we have learned DCL controls the user access using grant and revoke command, and TCL manages the transaction using commit and rollback command, right? These commands helps to maintain the data security and integrity in the SQL server. Here I have given some differences. Okay, so purpose of the DCL is to control the user access. Purpose of the TCL to manage the transaction. These are the commands we are having: grant and revoke under DCL, and TCL will have begin, commit, rollback, and save. Right, so it will be affected to the users and roles. This will be affected to the DML operations. That is what the data changes. Okay, DCL, as I mentioned, this will be used by the administrators, and TCL used by the developers as well as the DBAs. All right, so that's all for the today's video. I hope you enjoyed this session on DCL and TCL commands. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the bell, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel SQL Edge, and press the bell icon to get the updates on more SQL learning videos. I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep growing with SQL Edge. Thank you all.